The LA Police Commission had their first meeting since the protests began. And it was, because of social distancing, it was an online meeting. And I don't think it went exactly like Police Chief Michael Moore wanted.
Black Lives Matter, defund the police. I find it disgusting that the LAPD is slaughtering peaceful protesters on the street. I had two friends go to the protest in Beverly Hills a couple days ago, and the protest was peaceful until the police showed up with their excessive violent force, shooting rubber bullets and throwing tear gas. Is this what you think of protecting and serving? Because I think it's you, Michael Moore. I refuse to call you an officer or a chief because you don't deserve those titles. You are a disgrace. Suck my and choke on it. I yield my time. You.
Thank you. One minute.
I love the thank you afterward. Thank you for your comments. So these are public comments, and it was hours and hours and hours of that. They keep cutting down how much time people could talk, but the choke on it, I yield my time. I gotta get an I yield my time shirt now. But that's how a lot of people feel. That Michael Moore is like, no, I totally clarified my comment. We're good now. Don't worry about the people being tear gassed all over the place. Don't worry about that.
Regardless to what you may believe, that was not a Zoom bombing that happened there.
Yes, it was not. It was not.
The phenomenon of people busting in on Zoom meetings and finding a way to hack them and then scream profanities into just a group of ladies just trying to do a yoga session. That did not happen there. That was actually a concerned citizen that wanted to give the police chief a piece of his mind. Number two, I mentioned this morning in our production meeting. There's this anger that's going across, and it's different with this protest of this magnitude, this side. I've said before, COVID has got people at home, and they've got people scared and worried. Unemployment shooting up the way it has because of it has got people. They've got time. And number two, they've got time to pay attention to what's been going on at a greater scale. So this is nothing new with the Black community, obviously, and many folks that have had concerns with it before. But the action behind it is now. People have been seeing it, and they moving on to actually doing something in partnership in a way, right? The fact that you saw he mentioned Santa Monica and Beverly Hills, or Beverly Hills and somewhere else.
I think
parts of town that aren't traditionally known as the urban areas where those guys hang out. That's where some of these things are happening. And now the spread of information. We got Twitter, we got Instagram, we got Facebook. The videos of these things happening are all over the place. So people now are looking up and going, wait a second. Those cops that we always heard about killing and injuring and randomly maiming Black people, they're doing it to us too. And we see it.
Yeah.
So there's extra anger now because now they connect with the people that are being assaulted and killed out in the streets. Before, it was just us and other minorities.
Yeah.
So now when they're seeing indiscriminate massacres by police, they're like, wait a second. Choke on it. I can't say whatever else he said.
Yep.
The anger is now there because they connect to it. It's how humans are, and especially Americans. We don't care until it really, really hits home for us.
Yeah. It's happening to them, but also they're seeing more of it. I mean, what if in the the 90s riots, everyone had an HD camera and could instantly transmit it to everyone? What would we have seen? I can only imagine what the cops were doing during that time.
People took to the streets, and that was in Watts, South Central, after Rodney King. But if it was Parker King who was assaulted, other folks would have been in the streets. Let's keep it real, And I hate to have, it connects with people's real human interactions and the way they want to approach things now. When there's no other recourse. People are finally beginning to realize when you don't have your life to fight for, or when your life is disregarded, you're like, well, what am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we are.
I yield my time. Okay, let's briefly play one more. It's not quite as fiery, but still quite good.
First things first, Chief Moore, you gotta do a better job of pretending you care about this, man. I've been watching you roll your eyes and offer half-hearted smirks, acting like a teenager who's falling asleep in detention. Are you not aware of the war crimes your department's doing, or are you just that impatient to go do more of them? I see a lot of you, particularly sober-off, only react when folks use beating peaceful protesters with cops who murder Black people. You all could pretend to be as angry about murder as the F word. Okay, kids? Ask them. Blind them. Force them indoors with curfews that are announced only a half hour before they take effect and racially profile as he does so. Don't think I didn't hear about how yesterday you sent out an alert in English saying curfew started at 5 p.m. and sent out an alert right after in Spanish saying it started at 6. What's up with that, bud? All your cute Zoom background photos of the city won't trick us into thinking you care about anyone but yourselves and what's in your pockets. To close with a James Cameron quote, cops think of all non-cops as less than they are. Stupid, weak, and evil. They dehumanize the people they are sworn to protect.
That was good. I don't know who that was, but I like the tone. I like the, what's up with that, bud? Yeah, I think we know somewhat. I mean, look, I live in Culver City. Culver City has one of the earlier curfews. The first day the 4 p.m. curfew was announced, I think I found it 45 minutes before the curfew, and that was because I happened to be on Twitter to see it. They're sending out countywide curfews of 6 p.m. But if you're in one of the areas with a lower curfew, Culver City didn't send out text messages or anything like that. It is a justification to round people up because you hope that they won't know that the curfews are active.
And you know what? You can point out that these types of tactics are age old. Again, it's the change of the technology-based, information-based information age that we're in now. So before, you can set out one alert in English and another alert in Spanish saying the time is 30 minutes different, so you can have a better group of people that you look to target. People can now see that, research it, and spread it, and show everyone what you've been doing. Mm-hmm. Before, it could just fly right under the radar. And this is the problem. So as you see the leaders of our country start to crack down on information, social media, the president, and things that help spread information so people have a better idea of what's happening, once they try to start shutting that down, who does it sound like? Who do we criticize all the time? Dictatorial countries, North Korea, Russia, all these people that want to make sure that information is silenced to a degree. Mm-hmm. And certain aspects of the internet are limited so that these things won't happen. And then you get people coming out going, do you know what everybody's doing here? And some of those people that come out and say it are people that we respect, with folks with those white voices that were like, now we got to listen. Because we haven't demonized white people in this country the way we've demonized minorities to the degree that when someone else comes on and says something, if a Latino came on and said, hey, I got this text in Spanish that gave false information, but 30 minutes later, you know what the majority of us would say? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Are you illegal? Are you supposed to be here? We would miss the point and go back to the same stereotypes and hatred that we have for those people. Because once you just delegitimize their existence, it doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter how right they are, no matter what they say, we still got you.
There was, I don't remember what it was, but there was some viral video that was making that point, that the same exact complaints made by Black and brown people would only be accepted if it came through. They got some celebrity to read comments from other people, and I don't remember what it was, but it was basically the point that you were making. I don't remember if it was Tom Hanks or something like that. It was like, this is the only person that the power structure will accept these criticisms from, or something like that. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.